What's up, guys? Welcome back to Mission Accomplished. My name is Michelle.
I'm Garrett, and we didn't upload a podcast last week because
we
were
filming
a
musical.
We were filming a musical, and we didn't have time. Sorry.
Guys, I guess we'll do a little bit of updates for you guys. First of all, yes, we filmed YouTube Rewind the musical. It's so good.
Guys, it
turned out amazing.
I think it turned out better than I thought it would. Not because I thought it was going to be bad, but because this year there were a lot of things that were really hard to get right.
Yes.
And I think our team kind of nailed it.
Yes, knock on wood.
I'm really proud of it.
Really proud. Like, there is a tangible improvement from last year's. Like, last year's was fun and great.
Okay, name like a couple things real quick, rapid fire, things that make this year's musical even bigger and better than last year's. We had sets.
We have sets. We actually, we rented the set from the musical sideshow, like the professional set. I think it was used on the national tour. We literally got that set.
No. You tell them we built it ourselves with our bare hands.
Oh, no one would believe that.
Okay.
It's really dope, guys. When you see it, there are like these moving staircases and like.
That's enough.
Okay.
Spoilers.
I won't spoil
Spoilers.
too much. Okay, so that's number one. Number two, I think that because we had one musical under our belt coming in, just on the production side, we like were A game. We knew everything we were doing for the most part. I think the third thing is that the lyrics are and the songs are even better than last year. Again, just because Steve, Garrett, Ashley, we all had done it once before. So now we kind of knew how to like fit in all the internet terms into songs and whatnot. Now, I will say the songwriting process this year was way more difficult than last year. And I think Steve, our lyricist, would agree. Because, I mean, this year, and this I would say is the fourth thing that makes this year's better, is we touch on a lot of social issues that occurred within and outside of YouTube. And I'm really proud of us for that. Because last year it was more like, yay, like these are the crazy things that happened this year. This year we're like,
there's some real heavy shit that happened.
Yeah.
I like, I'm, so I was telling you this morning. I was listening to the second song, and it's a little sassy. We get some, we call some people out, and it's a good time. It's funny.
Yeah.
And, I don't know, just be ready for it. I'm excited.
Be ready. And I definitely think like this is something that YouTube corporate would probably never do.
Well, they couldn't. I don't think they could
because
do
we're
this.
calling people out. So. And
don't party during COVID.
Yes.
And then you won't wind up in our musical.
Yes. And then the fifth thing I think is that the dancing this year is off the chain.
Yeah.
Our team really nailed it. And I think, again, it's just a product of last year we were sort of figuring it out. And this year we were able to go in like super A game with a plan.
Yeah. I also just want to give a lot of credit to our team, not the creative, like the upper creative team, but also the ensemble, the actors, the dancers.
Yeah.
Everyone, stage manager, costumer, like everyone was so good. We've had so many. This is just something I want to like brag about, not about me, but about the team that we got to work with, that we were fortunate enough to work with. So many people from the cast and crew came up to us afterwards and said, wow, I cannot believe these were the people that you got on this project. I've never met people who are so dedicated and kind and loving and talented and like just good people. And everyone was just happy to surround themselves with good people.
I mean, for a lot of our team, this was the first, for a lot of our musical theater actors, this was the first thing they've done since the pandemic started in March. And I think I really think our ensemble like totally kicked ass because not only were we all, myself included, coming into this not having taken a dance class or performed since February,
Right.
I guess, like, and the dances in this show are marathons. Like, they are all out. Hats off to our amazing choreographer, Yusuf from The Masked Singer. He definitely turned up the heat, and everybody pretty much went from like no dance class in 9 months to totally kicking ass. Like, we were all, that first rehearsal, we were all like dying. Maybe it was just me, but I was dying. I was like,
No, it was tough. It was really tough.
We would do like a 3-minute song, and I would get to the end and be like, like, oh my God. Like, because you're dancing your ass off, you're running around the stage
in a
and
mask,
singing in a mask, because we were very strict on our COVID protocol for this whole thing.
By the way, if any of you are curious on our COVID protocol for during the musical shoot, our BTS video will cover some of that. I'm sure we'll talk about it more on the podcast. I just want to let you guys know if that's interesting to you, how we were able to do that successfully. No one tested positive. Then stay tuned because we have more information on that.
Yeah. So yeah, I think those are my 5 things. Was that 5 things? I hope
Who
it's
cares?
5 things.
That sounded like at least 5 things. Those were good things. So what else happened this morning?
This morning.
Yeah. Well, I guess that didn't. I'm segueing into.
We did all of that this morning.
Forbes 30 under 30 that came out this morning.
It did. And?
What was that response?
It did.
Were you salty about it?
No, I'm not salty about it.
Michelle has a dream of being on that list.
I guess, but also like
That's a cool
I didn't
dream.
even apply. Like, I've never applied.
So I didn't know you had to apply. I guess that makes sense.
You do have to apply. You have to like
Okay.
get people to nominate you or recommend you.
Does that cost money?
I don't think it costs money, but I will say I know people who have paid money to increase their chances. I'll just say that.
That's interesting. So if you guys want to help out Michelle, nominate her for Forbes 30 under 30.
Well, the
Michelle
applications are clearly closed, but for next year,
Michelle
maybe.
would go bonkers.
That would be really cool.
That's a big
And I
dream.
think next year my last year of eligibility. Oh no.
Maybe. All right,
Whatever.
guys. We got
I
to
don't
get her
wanna think
there.
about that.
So who was on it this year that you recognize?
Oh, I'm very excited. Marquez Brownlee is
Mm-hmm.
on there. MKBHD, fellow YouTuber. I think he's awesome. I mean, a bunch of TikTok people. We knew that was going to happen.
Yeah.
Mr. Beast.
Mr. Beast was on there.
there.
It's always weird when I see him labeled as Jimmy Donaldson. And I do a double take for a second.
Yeah, I mean, I thought it was great. Great for them.
I love the photos. The photo shoot.
The photo
this
shoot
year
looked
was really
great.
cool. Very cool.
Super
Very
awesome.
stylistic.
But I feel like 30 under 30 is interesting because some of it is like people are like, where you're like, no question.
Mm-hmm.
And then I just can't help but shake like the stories I've heard about what people do to get on the list. And then it feels like any other award show, like a political thing.
Right. I think most award situations
Right.
probably are.
Right. Yeah.
Okay. In the vein of mission accomplished, that would be a pretty exciting.
That would be. I
Yeah.
mean, like, yeah. I guess I think I also know because I have friends who applied to be in 30 under 30 who in my mind are no question like very influential and impactful to the space, and they didn't make the list. But I know that like there are people who did make the list who pay for a PR team and have like a whole whatever behind them.
This is actually an interesting topic I might just want to ask about. I know it might be off topic from the broader topic of this podcast. People might find it interesting. You mentioned the term PR team.
Yes.
You got to work with a PR team for a short period of time.
I did. Yes. They were amazing.
Like, for people who aren't used to working with a PR team, what is that like? What is it like? Talk about how many people, what do they do? Is there coaching involved? What happens? How do they get interviews? Like, can you talk? That fascinates me because I didn't know about it too much until you had a PR team for a hot minute. What's that like?
So having a PR team is very interesting. It's very different than I feel one might think it is. First of all, I think this is understood, but when you work with an agent or manager, they take a percentage of your income. And so like if you don't book something, they don't profit either. So there's like, like that sort of common interest, I would say.
There's incentive for them to make you as big as possible.
PR team is different. A PR team, you pay them a flat fee, and it's usually several $1,000s per month. It's expensive. For like a really good PR company, it is $3,000 to $12,000 per month, depending on
that's crazy.
the agency. So it's very expensive. And essentially what they do is pitch you to editorial outlets or news outlets to get the word out about you. In my case, I was doing press for Karma, the show I hosted this summer. And so I did a lot of interviews with like kids magazines or like kids outlets. I did some like news spots and stuff. But yeah, it's cool. They like pitch you around and they like have all the connections to different writers who write for different publications and might want to do a profile or a piece on you. Did
you enjoy that experience? Did you find it to be a positive experience for you?
It was really cool because I've always wanted to do press. I mean, there's so many YouTubers who do press all the time. Like they, get interviewed for Wall Street Journal or New York Times or something. And I always wanted that. And while I didn't get to do an interview with either of those publications this time, it was really cool to see how it worked. But they work very hard, and they know everybody. So I would say if you can afford a PR team, you definitely have a better shot at 30 under 30.
Interesting. So that would be a tool, let's say, to help assist you get that.
Right.
One of those
think about
positions.
it. If you can look on the site, it literally lists who the judges for each category are. And so, it's a human judging panel. So if you know someone on that judging panel and, I don't know, can nudge it a little bit, obviously that's going to help when they're getting thousands of applications. Even just to hear your name like, hey, look out for this application. They're going to have that name in the back of their head as they're going through all the applications. So like, I definitely think like money talks in that way, and having a PR team is massively helpful, I would assume. Because I've tried in the past by myself to get press coverage of specific videos we've done or things I've done.
It's pretty difficove when you're doing it yourself, right? Because it comes off as self-promotion, even though
weird.
They both are.
Yeah, it's weird. And I've had nominal success with that. But like at BuzzFeed, I did it all the time. Like if I did a video that I thought, piqued a certain social interest or injustice or something like that, I would definitely like reach out to outlets to see if they would cover it. And sometimes it worked, but a lot of times it didn't.
Whoa. We almost forgot. It's time for a word from our sponsors.
Blinkist. These days, it can be hard to find the time to sit down and learn more. It is not easy when the likes of social media can be so addictive and time consuming. You may think you don't have the time to develop yourself. There is an app I highly recommend called Blinkist. Y'all, Blinkist is for anyone who cares about learning but doesn't have a lot of time. Basically, what Blinkist does is it takes the key ideas and insights from over 4,000 nonfiction bestsellers in more than 27 categories and gathers them together in 15-minute text and audio explainers that helps you understand more about the core ideas. You can use Blinkist to get into a new topic quickly, find new topics to grow from, or figure out which books you want to spend more time reading and listening to more deeply. They even have a podcast division, so you can get to the heart of a podcast episode fast. In other words, you know how we talk about other things until we get to the thing that's in the title and the YouTube thumbnail
Like
and
literally
description.
what's happening right
Literally
now.
what's happening right now. You can skip all of that. With high quality audio, you can jump right in on the go during your commute, at the gym, or on the house, or even download to listen offline. Recently, I used Blinkist to dive into a bit of the book Becoming by Michelle Obama, her new release, and loved it because I was able to get into the core ideas and themes very quickly before diving into the full book. Right now, Blinkist has a special offer just for our audience.
Hey.
Yes, baby. Go to Blinkist.com/mission accomplished to start your free 7-day trial and get 25% off a Blinkist premium membership. That is Blinkist, spelled Blinkist, Blinkist.com/mission accomplished to get 25% off and a 7-day free trial. Again, that is Blinkist.com/mission accomplished.
Do they have books on dinosaurs?
Probably.
Oh, I know what I'm doing today. So I think that brings us to today's big topic. So there's a story Michelle has that I find very hilarious. And I would love for you to, well, I think you want to talk about the story just because it's funny, right?
I think so the theme of today is going to be worst date experiences.
Worst date experiences.
Yes. So I have a story and it's pretty bizarre, but I don't know. I hope this is okay to tell.
Set the stage.
Okay,
what time, what year is it?
The year is...
Year and how old were you?
2012.
All right. So we're talking
College.
Just after high school.
Yes.
The beginning of college
Yes.
for little Michelle.
Oh, I feel so old now. Okay, anyway, so I'm a sophomore in college. I went to Dartmouth. And one of the cool things about going to Dartmouth is that you go to class and you could be sitting next to a senator's child or like I'll just name some famous people's kids who were in my class. Lorne Michaels' son was a student at Dartmouth in my class. My roommate was the winner of Funniest Kid in New Jersey award. Like he won a stand-up competition.
Funniest Kid in New Jersey.
I don't know. It was something
funny.
like that. He won a stand-up competition when he was in high school. Like
That's
winners
impressive.
of the National Spelling Bee. Lots of people who now work in finance and
speaking of spelling
startups.
bee, this is a tangent. I had a dream. I don't remember my dreams ever. I had a dream last night that I won a spelling bee. I'm horrible at spelling, and I won, and I'm like, I'm a fraud. I can't win the spelling bee, and I gave back the award at the end because there was no way I could win a spelling bee. And I was
you
like,
gave back the award.
I was like, I cannot accept
how
this.
honorable of you, but also you won, so you should have kept it.
But I don't think I could have won. So I think something was something cheated my way to that award. And I don't think this is imposter syndrome because I'm not actually a good speller. I'm bad at spelling. I won a spelling bee. I returned the award.
Great.
Continue.
I actually went to state geography bee in middle school.
State geography bee.
bee. Geography bee is no fucking joke. They'll be like, what is the name of the river in Switzerland that passes by a small town that burned down in 1804? It's crazy. Like you basically have to be...
What's the answer?
I don't know. I failed. So I think like at the regional level for geography bee, it's like multiple choice, something weird. Basically, I won on a major fluke.
You won geography bee.
In
I'm so proud of
my
you.
middle school.
Do you remember
and then
like
they sent me to state. So then I go to state and I didn't study at all. My mom was very disappointed in me, which makes sense. I won the school bee and then I didn't study at all going to state. So I go to state and I'm like trying to study in the car, basically like cram for a final exam. And let me tell you, when you are trying to memorize literal earth, it's like they ask science questions. They'll be like, what is the climate of this minor desert that sits between two lakes in Israel? Like, it is crazy. They ask you about climate. They ask you about culture. It's not just name, all 100 whatever countries in their capitals.
Mm-hmm.
It is like you got to know the terrain, the culture.
That's cool.
The history.
I have one more tangent before we get back.
No, but I'm not done with my geography.
Then go.
Then I go to States, and when we're at States, I failed miserably. It was embarrassing. There was another girl there who, like kind of like pageant mom, but for geography B. She had been studying, like watching episodes of Jeopardy constantly to prep for this. To the point where they asked her a question and she answered the question in a form of a question. She was like, "What is Antarctica?" And I remember so clearly, she put her hands over her mouth like, "I meant just Antarctica." And the judge was like, "We know. You're moving on to the next round." She got every question right. And I remember she laughed at me when I got one wrong. It was rude.
Wow.
Anyways, back to my date.
Wait. One more tangent, and I swear we'll get to this date story, guys.
What?
So I had a similar thing in high school, which was it was a social studies competition, or B. Where does that word come from? Spelling B. What's B mean? Why is it called a spelling bee or a geography bee?
That's weird.
Right?
Think
about it.
I don't
know.
want to.
Someone tell us in the comments. Anyway,
Okay.
we had a version of that in my high school for social studies, and it was divided into 4 categories. We were teams of 4, and we were competing. I don't remember the other 3 categories. I remember one category because our team decided each one of us in our team was going to devote our time studying one category.
Okay.
So we all only had to know one category. One of them was like, I don't know, historic events. One was geography, blah, blah, blah. My category that I wanted was flags. International flags. So flags of countries throughout the world.
You know the flags.
The reason why I picked that, I didn't know them until this. So the reason why I chose flags is because I have a fairly good photographic memory in terms of I can look at an image and pretty much remember exactly where on that image all of the symbols and markings and colors are.
Yeah, you're good at that. Whenever I'm like, I lost my phone, you're like, oh, it's on your desk by this underneath that.
Right. I just have snapshots of like the rooms of our house when I last left that room. So similar for flags, I could remember what symbols and colors were in what order. So when I see a flag, I can remember, oh, I know what that is. Like I assign it to my name, assign it to the country's name. So I was really good at international flags, and I studied really hard, and I memorized almost all of them pretty well. I was really proud of it. And the competition came, and I don't know if we won or lost the whole competition. I don't really remember. I assume we lost. But I nailed all my questions. I got every single one of my flag questions right. I was so proud. Another memory thing that I'm proud of. Sorry, more tangents. Did we tell this is just a high school achievement podcast now, but I memorized the digits of pi for a pi competition in high school, right? So we had to remember digits of pi, and whoever could remember the most digits wins a pie, like an actual pie from like the teacher's favorite pie place in Pittsburgh, where I went to high school. And I ended up winning that. And I memorized, and this sounds insane, I memorized 300 digits of pi.
So you could get a pie.
So I could get a pie.
Great.
It was less to get a pie, but it was more to see if I could memorize something like that. And the trick that I used, so this was our psychology teacher who threw this competition. And the point of the competition was to get us students to be able to take a memorization technique and use it to remember the digits of pi. So there's like the memory castle technique there. There's all these different memorization techniques, right? So I didn't
even know that.
For numbers, I used the phone number technique, and I used it as a matrix or a grid. So what I did was I wrote out all like pi, 300 digits of it. And then you realize that you're, instead of remembering 300 numbers in a row that are random, think of it as a list of 30 phone numbers. Mm-hmm. So now all you have to memorize is 30 phone numbers. and I wrote them in order. And so rather than trying to remember 30 phone numbers, I'm like, oh, I remember the first couple. And then I know that like these zeros make a shape in these two lines. And like, oh, it's a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 diagonally down here. And you think of the whole grid of numbers as a photo. Did you have
to recite it out loud though?
No, I got to write it. So I got to sit down and write it all out. And I had like an hour to make sure that my image of the 300 digits matched the image that I had in my mind. And it took me a while to fill it out, but I did it. I don't remember any of them now because I'm not practicing that memorization technique, but I was really excited. I got a coconut cream pie. Very excited. I like coconut a lot. Anyway, wee woo. It's an advertisement.
Let's be real, guys. The holidays can be a stressful time, especially with things looking a little different this year. And that's why our friends at MeUndies curated a list of the stuff your friends really want, so you can carve out me time and soften the holiday stretch. The micro modal is not only super soft, but also breathable, light, and impossibly cozy. The best part? You can get all your gifting done from home. Avoid those malls, avoid all those lines, gift new undies, PJ sets, slippers, and everything else you need to have a stress-free and comfortable holiday. Y'all, we love MeUndies.
I love MeUndies. Look, I have them right here.
Y'all, it is literally insane how soft the fabric is. I don't understand it.
I could use them as a blanket.
You just put that on your face.
I haven't worn these ones
great.
yet. These are the brand new ones that I just got.
They have little moose on them. They're so cute.
Of little moose or reindeer, whichever.
And if you don't know what kind of underwear to get your friend, family member, or acquaintance, don't worry, because MeUndies offers gift cards this holiday season as well. We love MeUndies, guys. We highly recommend them. And we have a super great offer for you guys today. For any first-time purchasers, you're going to get 15% off and free shipping. MeUndies also has their problem-free philosophy. If you don't like it, if you're not satisfied, they'll refund or exchange it. No caveats, no questions. So to get 15% off your first order and free shipping, go to MeUndies.com/mission accomplished. That's MeUndies.com/mission accomplished. Thank you so much to MeUndies for continually supporting our little podcast. We are so grateful to you. And with that, let's continue my date story.
Okay. So it's 2012. You're in college.
I don't want to talk about what year it is or how old I am now. Okay, anyways, so it's 2012. I'm in college. I was a sophomore, and as I was saying before,
with famous people.
Okay, listen. I felt completely out of my league all the time. Major imposter syndrome being there because everybody there was like the daughter of a billionaire.
Yeah, but you were geography B champion.
No,
you were at your school.
By a fluke. I'm telling you guys. Okay, so anyways.
No. They're sitting next to geography B champion and future 30 under 30.
Let's just say there are a lot of really cool people that go there, and I felt completely out of my league. And one of the very cool people who went to Dartmouth, and well, let me preface. I am a huge, massive fan of the film School of Rock.
Who isn't?
Love it so much. Love Sarah Silverman. Love Jack Black. I loved that the cast was all kids primarily who were just like really freaking talented. I think Miranda Cosgrove is great in it. The music is phenomenal. The directing.
Richard Linklater.
A
lot of people forget that Richard Linklater did School of Rock, and for those film people, the Before series is like his...
Before Sunrise, he did that movie Boyhood, the one that was shot over 12 years. Like, he is an artiste, guys.
Yeah, and so...
And he did School of Rock.
It was sort of like he did one for himself, one for the studio, back in, movie-wise.
School of Rock is a masterpiece.
School of Rock was like his one studio film that he had to make to get funding for his other movies. Mm-hmm. And instead of doing a throwaway movie... He made a fucking awesome studio film.
Yes.
School of Rock.
He did.
And
so good.
It was written by Mike White, who, if you're a Survivor buff, you know that Mike is in a season of Survivor.
And
so the
did
writer
very well.
The writer of School of Rock is in Survivor. It was hilarious. Watch that season. Mm-hmm. So amazing all around.
Yes. Very amazing all around. And I am so obsessed with School of Rock, guys. When the movie came out on DVD, I watched it so many times in a row. I love the film. I have seen the director's commentary. I have seen the cast commentary. Like, they did a commentary version with all the kids commentating on it. Anyways, and I was just so into it. So when I found out that a member of the cast...
Was it Jack Black?
No.
Too old. Was it Miranda Cosgrove?
No. It was Robert Sy. He plays the pianist.
Lawrence, you ever played keyboards? Any techno?
No, I only play piano.
He says, I'm not cool enough.
I'm not cool enough.
And his arc is about finding his inner confidence. Guided by Jack Black.
Keyboards, Mr. Cool.
To break out of his classical pianist background and become a rock star.
Love that. And so this person is sitting like next to you in English sort of feel?
No. This person goes to Dartmouth. He was 2 grades above me.
Ooh.
Yes. And at the time, I was on my college's Frisbee team. And the Frisbee team, I don't know, I feel like this is a thing, but like college Frisbee teams are all about like pranking each other. They're all about like doing silly things. Like that's a part of the culture of Ultimate Frisbee, I feel. Like the Frisbee parties were always like the craziest and the most fun. Just like really wonderful people. And except for this time. So we were in the Collis Cafe.
Okay.
There was always this one couch that people knew. Okay, this sounds so high school, but like people knew this couch was the Frisbee couch. I don't even think this couch exists anymore, but like people knew that the Frisbee team always sits at these couches. At any point of day, there's always someone from the team like sitting on that couch doing homework or eating or something like that. So I'm sitting there like doing emails or like homework. Whatever you do in college, I was doing that. And I got up to go get something from the cafe. And my friends on the team knew how big of a fan of School of Rock I was. And also, like, secretly, I wanted to meet Robert. That's it. I just wanted to meet him and say a polite thank you for his contribution to the film. And I thought he's a great pianist. And I loved his storyline. And just that I'm a really big fan of School of Rock. But I'd never done it because, you know, it's like, you don't just like walk up to someone and be like, yo, like, I'm a fan. You know, like does that feel weird? I don't know. It felt weird to me.
I think that's totally fine.
Okay, well, anyways, I didn't want to make him uncomfortable or anything. Like, for example, I've heard about like when Emma Watson went to Brown, when she answered a question in class, someone else in the class yelled like 10 points for Gryffindor or something like that. Like she kind of got harassed a little bit.
I have an Emma Watson story.
You have an Emma Watson story?
Yeah, I lived in Pittsburgh when they shot Perks of Being a Wallflower. I met Emma Watson's mother. Because I shadowed Stephen Chbosky directed that. My mom's former boss was friends with him, so I got to shadow him on Perks of Being a Wallflower for like a week. So I was there for the filming of a ton of the scenes. I ended up meeting Ezra Miller before I knew who Ezra Miller was. And Ezra Miller was trying to have a conversation and be kind to me, and I just didn't know who he was at the time. So I'm just like answering like he's just any other random person on set. God. It's like, oh, you want to go to the concession, like go because it was the football what's it called? The football games, Friday nights in high school, whatever.
Friday night football?
Sure. I don't know.
My high school didn't have a football team.
So it was like the concession stand at the high school where they were filming was actually where Crafty was, which was really fun. So it's like, oh, do you want to go to the concession stand for food? Like, I'll show you around is what the things that he was saying. He was just being kind to people. And I was like, no, thanks. I'm good.
What the hell is wrong with you?
Because I thought he was like a PA or something that was trying to help me.
Are you fucking kidding me?
And it was Ezra Miller.
You shunned Ezra
Isn't
fucking
that funny?
Miller?
So anyway, I was standing by monitor because I was allowed to. Very interesting. And Emma Watson's mother was there in a massive fur coat. And I just remember her being so like short and like not mean, but like
Was she like stage mom?
yeah, it was pretty funny. So I didn't actually meet Emma Watson. I just met her mother. Brief
I'm going to
interaction.
be a stage mom. I already know it.
Anyway, continue your
Can't
story.
wait. All right. So, yes.
So you're talking about like it's not appropriate, you think maybe
Right.
to like go up and gush over them like a fan.
because
Even though
because
that's
we're
fine though,
we're
right?
students together.
Oh,
you
so
know?
it's kind of like a work, not a work environment, but like there's a new dynamic that you feel like.
Like he's not just like, oh, I see a celebrity in a cafe. I'm
Right.
gonna like walk
You're
up
kind
to
of
them
bound by
and then
a
never
social,
see them again.
You're like bound by a social situation that.
Yeah, I didn't want to make
Yeah,
him
okay.
feel like a zoo animal.
That's fair. That's
even,
totally fair.
You know, in a place that he should feel comfortable, which is his institution of education. So
That's fair. Yeah.
Yeah, I didn't ever want to make him feel uncomfortable.
Good for you.
So, anyways, we're at the couches. I get up, I go to get a snack, and when I come back, something is weird. Like I know something has happened, and I'm like, the air just feels weird, and everybody else on the team is like acting too quiet, if that makes sense.
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, what happened? Is something going on here? And no one says anything. And then I sit down and then they all start laughing. And it turned out that my friend, who I trusted at the time, not anymore, Patton Lowenstein, that's his name. He sent a love letter email to Robert
From you.
from me, from my computer. I left my laptop there, and he sent this email to Robert.
What did it say?
It was like, "Hi, Robert. I am such a fan of yours. I've seen you in the hallways, and it's just come over me suddenly that I must go on a date with you." And then there's like a whole section about how much I loved his performance in School of Rock, and it inspired me, and blah, blah, blah. And it sucked because I agreed with some of those things. Like, I love School of Rock. I'm a fan of it, but it took it a bit too far, in my opinion. And then the profession of the love and like wanting to go on a date. So I'm sitting here like beet red, mortified. Keep in mind, I'm brown normally, so getting to beet red is something else. And I was like, are you guys fucking kidding me? And they're like, you just won't stop talking about how you've always wanted to meet Robert from School of Rock. So we just did it. Like, you have to go meet him now. And I was like, oh my God, I'm so embarrassed. This is so terrible. So then I had to send a follow-up email and be like, hey, so this was a prank.
LOL JK. My friend sent this.
My friend sent this, which is so embarrassing because
that doesn't sound believable. You know, think about it. Think about the other person. If you got like a text message that was like, I'm in love with you, I want to go on a date, and then you don't get a response, and then it says, LOL, my little brother typed that. Like, it sounds like bullshit, right?
Okay, so then I said, I'm so sorry. This was a prank, but I actually am a really big fan of School of Rock.
So you just doubled down.
No, I didn't. I like half doubled down. I was like, but I'm actually a fan of School of Rock, so let me buy you lunch for this to shoot.
Wait, why didn't you just let that email sit then?
Listen, I was like...
You basically said, okay, my friend sent that, but also I do feel the same way.
Okay.
Let's get lunch.
No.
It
It wasn't that. It was, my friend sent that. I don't love you. I love the movie. I would love to meet you anyways and buy you lunch for this annoyance that I've caused.
Okay, now that sounds like you sent both emails, and this was your way of being like, now I owe you something, so you should just still.
This is why I don't fangirl over anything anymore. I'm not a fan of anything. Except Ariana Grande. Anyways.
Fun fact, Michelle's Twitter account used to be a...
Oh my God. Fan account.
For.
Mindy Kaling.
Moving on.
My original username was Mindy Kaling #1 fan or something like that. Like something that sounds like spam. That was me. And I would literally just retweet Mindy Kaling and reply to her saying like, I love you. I want to meet you one day.
Because Mindy Kaling also went to
Dartmouth.
Wow.
I'm telling you.
Last year, Mindy Kaling responded to you on Twitter, which would have made your past self very giddy.
Yeah, she did. That was really cool.
Okay, continue. So this email was sent, and then you sent an
God.
even crazier email yourself.
Yes, because I'm crazy and I tried to clean up the situation, but then also I was like, this is probably the only time I'll ever get to meet him because it was around graduation. So he was about to graduate and I'm never going to see him again.
Right.
So I had to capitalize.
So wait. The email was sent. Did you get a response?
Yeah. I might actually still have this response. Should I try to find it? Hold on. Let me see if I see it.
Yeah, absolutely. If you have this email correspondence.
Oh my God. I found it.
Do you have all the emails?
I do.
All right. So we're going to read you now. Michelle will. Can I read Robert's responses?
Oh my God,
okay.
no.
So you play.
No, this is so embarrassing.
Okay. You play you. I'll play Robert.
No. Okay.
All right.
I'm opening this email from April 19th, 2012.
Okay, so the first email that will be read will be the fake email that Michelle's friend sent. All right, read that.
All right, so I can't find the original email where my friends, that my friends sent on my behalf. However, I have found the follow-up email that I sent secondly.
That you sent.
That I sent, yes.
Read me that.
Hi, Robert. I'm really, really sorry about that blitz, which is what we call email. My friends blitz jacked me when I was in Collis earlier today. Sorry if this was super awkward, and I hope it didn't offend you or anything. Tot. But if you still want to get lunch, that could be fun too. And he literally responds.
Wait. Can I be Robert? Okay, I'll be Robert.
Just, you have to point out, he doesn't even give a shit about the fact that, like,
Okay, also your subject line is, oh my God, I'm so sorry, in all caps. All right, and then Robert responds, no worries. I could get lunch next week if you were up for it. Tuesday, maybe. Hope you're enjoying the spring. Robert. And then I have another email from Robert. It says, great, let's say 12:05 at Collis then on Tuesday. So
12:05.
Oh, and then your response before that was, sure, I'm always up for lunch. Let's do it. Ha ha.
God, that sounds so flirty.
It's one of those.
Wasn't actually, for the record.
Well, it's one of those things where you add LOLs and ha's at the end of sentences to make it less, like, give it less weight. Like, I'm still just kind of joking around, right? Right? All right. So tell me now what happened. So you have a date set.
I guess
What
date.
happens? Do you show up? Is he there? Is he not there?
So yeah,
Set the stage.
I show up and first of all, I just have to say he wore a trench coat. I don't know why that's relevant, but I will always remember he wore a trench coat. Anyways, so he wore a trench coat.
Bold move.
And we got lunch and
Was it awkward when
Yeah.
you saw each other for the first time? Like, how did it, like, was he already sitting there?
I mean, like,
to
he
me
showed up
that.
and it was one of those, like, do we hug? Do we shake hands? Like, hey, we're eating lunch together, I guess, because my friends sent you a prank email.
But also because you followed it up with, but can we actually get lunch?
Shut up. I did want to meet.
Okay.
Because I love School of Rock. So yeah, we had a nice lunch, and I asked a ton of questions about the filming of School of Rock, but I tried to keep it to like a respectful minimum, so as not to, be offensive. He said that Jack Black was a very nice guy, and
That
he
checks
just
out.
made this whole thing seem normal. Like, oh yeah, like we filmed the thing, and like that was a part of my childhood, and like. I think he was an engineering major or something. Like he didn't even continue acting. But it was still really cool. And that's really pretty much it. For him, it was a very normal and whatever experience. For me, it was exciting to hear about. I remember there were a lot of awkward pauses.
This is the big climax of the story.
Yeah.
So nothing happened. It was just like a fine
It was
date.
It was fine.
Did it continue?
We never saw each other again. Except like around class. I mean, it was like a month before graduation.
How did the date end?
This was really fun. It was so nice to meet you, and thank you so much. I'm so sorry my friend sent that email, but I really enjoyed getting to meet you, and I'm such a big fan of the film School of Rock.
Did you like shake hands?
I don't know.
You just left?
Yeah, I mean, I guess the most interesting thing is that he literally is that character, like in real life. He wasn't
that's a fun
acting.
fact.
Like that's just
Well,
him.
that makes sense.
And I
'cause
think like
Richard
he got the
Linklater,
part because he went to like they had like a casting call for like piano prodigies or something, and he's like insanely good at piano.
This makes sense because Richard Linklater usually casts actual people to play
and
characters.
Richard Linklater wanted all of the kids to actually play the instruments,
right.
and like in the I'm pretty sure in the studio recording, they are like it's the kids playing the instruments.
I believe that. Yeah.
Which is really cool.
Wow.
I also remember from the commentary that one of the things they had to work on with Robert is breaking him out of his like classical background and getting him to just like rock out on the piano. And I could see that. I think I asked him like, do you still play piano? And he said no. Or like, not like seriously. This is super anticlimactic. Basically, it was really awkward. I learned a few fun facts about School of Rock. I wanted to ask way more questions, but I didn't because I was trying to be polite. And it ended, I think he eats soup.
And that's it. The end.
What's your worst date experience?
We're out of time, so can't talk about that. And Michelle, congratulations on your date with that kid from School of Rock.
Congratulations on meeting Emma Watson's mom, and not congratulations on shunning Ezra Miller. You
That
freak.
was a mistake.
I love you.
I love you too.
Anyways, if you guys made it to the end of this podcast, congratulations, mission.
I'm shocked if you got to the end of this podcast.
Thank you guys so much for listening to this embarrassing as heck story. Robert, if you're listening, I sincerely apologize for that entire thing. You probably don't remember me, and that's okay. To my college friends who are listening and laughing, I am still embarrassed. Also, congratulations.
To Ezra Miller, I'm deeply sorry that I didn't know who you were at the time.
If you somehow made it to the end of this podcast, congratulations. Mission accomplished. Follow us on Instagram. We'll see you next time.
Bye.